Gundam has to be one of the most dominant mecha anime series of all time. The series has been around for 44 years, and the original Mobile Suit Gundam with memorable characters like Amuro, Ray, and Char Aznable revolutionized the mecha space opera genre of anime. The series is still going strong, with Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury being the latest installment as of the release of this video. And aside from Macross, also known as the Robotech series, and Transformers, it's easily one of the most recognizable mecha series of all time. I have been watching the Gundam franchise for a long time, and some of the first anime I ever watched was Gundam G Gundam being my first, while Gundam Wing took over Toonami in my childhood and easily being one of the most recognizable Gundam series in the US, not to mention the toy takeover they had when Wing was released. But today I'm going to give Gundam its roses. I have 5 of my favorite Gundam series of all time. I don't claim to have seen every single Gundam anime, and my list is purely based on my preference. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing if you like videos like this. Like the video, it'll help push the video to a greater audience, and comment your favorite Gundam series. Let's get into it. 5. Mobile Suit Gundam. Of course, you know we had to mention the grandfather of all Gundam series, or else it just wouldn't be right. As previously stated, Mobile Suit Gundam revolutionized the series of mecha and space opera with Amuro and Char. This is probably one of the most recognizable Gundam series of all time. And none of the other Gundam shows we've come to know and love and experience in the Universal Century timeline or an alternative Gundam timeline would have been conceived. This Gundam series still holds up to this day, and as the 50th anniversary of Gundam approaches in this day and age of reboots, I can't help but believe a reboot is right around the corner. 4. G Gundam. 60 years ago, most of the population left Earth to live in colonies in space because the Earth had become dirty, polluted and overpopulated. In order to avoid war among the colony nations, a competition is held every 4 years from each nation piloting Gundams to determine who will rule the colony nations. Earth is the setting for the tournament, making Earth extremely dangerous for regular citizens. We join Dom and Cashu on a mission to avenge his parents and defeat his brother who betrayed the family and absconded with the Devil Gundam. This is one of my favorite Gundam shows because it was different in terms of the entire show is one big tournament arc. In addition, the Gundam in this series were able to replicate the user's movements instead of using levers and buttons. Because of this, actual martial arts skill by the user is an advantage, because it can be utilized and enhanced by the power of the Gundams. Not to mention, this series had some of the most memorable catchphrases by a main character.
This hand of mine glows with an awesome power! Its burning grip tells me to defeat you! Take this, my love, my anger, and all of my sorrow! Shining Finger Sword! Go, go, go!
3. Gundam Wing. G Gundam was a hit or miss for most people. But when this show dropped years later, this is the Gundam everyone I know was talking about. In this series, the colonies in space were being oppressed by the Earth Alliance. They wished to be free from Earth's control, but after the pacifist hero Yui, not to be confused with the protagonist, was assassinated, 5 scientists who worked for Organization of the Zodiac, or Oz, defected and made the Gundams, along with training 5 teens to combat the Alliance. Anime lovers and dabblers alike know about the dominance of Wing on Toonami back in the day. Let me start by saying Hero Yui was an absolute menace to society. He didn't care about anyone or anything but the mission. But when I rewatched a couple episodes for today's video, not just Hero but the entire cast of Wing, consisting of Duo Maxwell, Trower Barton, Catra Winner, and Chang Wei-Fei, was solid, engaging and memorable. You know the show's good when you just want to refresh the memory and end up on episode 10. This show has some of the coolest Gundams in the franchise if you ask me, with Deathscythe being one of my favorites of all time. 2. Iron-blooded Orphans. 300 years ago, there was a great war known as the Calamity War. Mars has been successfully terraformed and made inhabitable for humans. However, they are still under the oppressive rule from the Earth government. Years later, we join our main group of characters who are mainly children working as soldiers. After the fall of the previous organization Cries Guard Security, they decide to make their own organization called Tekkadan. Using the powerful Gundam Barbatos, Mikazuki Aogus pilots the Gundam in hopes of making a better life for his friends and family. Since this Gundam uses the Alaya Vinana system, which is directly connected to the user's spinal cord and nerves, which allows for better performance. Barbatos was easily able to even outperform newer mobile suits. This led to some of the best fight scenes in any Gundam series, more akin to actual martial arts movements similar to G Gundam, as opposed to clunky giant robot fights. It's a fantastic thrill ride of a show that will have you hooked from episode 1. If you haven't seen it, you just have to give it a try. 1. Gundam 00. Celestial Being's goal was to end war by using armed interventions. The idea was that by having the most advanced and powerful mobile suits, years more advanced than the current mobile suits, they could end war. We join one of my favorite main characters in not just Gundam, but all of anime. Setsuna F. Seiei and his fellow pilots in trying to bring peace to the world using Gundams. Setsuna is one of the most dedicated pilots on this list after having a rough childhood being a child soldier and seeing the awe of the prototype Gundam on the battlefield that was the basis for his own Gundam Exia. Setsuna eventually became a pilot. His dedicated and connection with the Gundam is so strong his catchphrase is "I am Gundam."
Setsuna! Answer me, Setsuna!
A Gundam.
What? What was that?
I am a Gundam.
What are you talking about?
This, coupled with the unique transim system the Gundams used, allowing for superior movement and speed, in addition to the memorable characters and villains, put this series at number 1 for me. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. Thank you for watching. Please consider subbing for more content, like to push this to a greater audience, and comment your favorite Gundam series on and off the list. Have a great day.